What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from SRL. That is the Sandro Racing League. And while there are many SRLs, there's only one Sandro Racing League. F1 2020 here on the PS4 platform, Season 6, Round 7 at Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, España. And I've got Sam Brandt with me in the booth today. Sam, welcome back. I know you can only step in for a hot minute last time out, but welcome to Spain.
Thank you. Thank you.
So stepping into today's race, let's run down the driver lineup. We had 18 drivers last time out at Sochi. We'll run down the driver lineup. Sandro Dulius in the Ferrari. Jan Holm coming back in the AlphaTauri. Rennie van der Stappen in the McLaren. Funes van Houten in the factory Renault. Reese March in the Haas. Colin Higgins in the other Renault. Cameron Weston Edwards in the McLaren. And Season 5 champion Tim Bentic making a rare appearance. He hasn't raced since round 1 this year. He'll be in the Mercedes AMG Petronas. Jurma Rusic is back as well after a 2-month hiatus from his PlayStation 4 taking a poop on him. Max Mulder, coming off of a podium finish last time out, will be in the other Racing Point. Dion Stahl in the other Ferrari. Jensen Randall in the Mercedes. Andrea Latrella in the other AlphaTauri. Esteban Hermanos in the Haas. Luke Smith racing once again in the Alfa Romeo. Niek van Gelder looking to make up for last week's debacle in the Red Bull. And the pizza boy, I think I got a note on him, but I don't know who it was. That is, and I'll tell you here in a second. Oh yeah, I can't even say this guy's name. Felipe Aplonario. You know, we're just going to call him Felipe.
Yeah.
So Felipe and making his SRL debut. So that rounds out the 16 drivers for today's race. Past season winners, I should say, is Eden Newman back in Season 1. I'm sure Sam remembers him. Season 2 was the champion that year, Alex Benarichetti. Season 3 was the infamous Killian Brady. Season 4 was Vasilios Belasiotis, and Season 5, Tim Bentic. So not a repeat winner, but with Tim being in the driver lineup today, we could see our first repeat winner here at Spain. And Spain, for the most part, has been one of SRL's more exciting tracks over the years, has it not?
Yeah, it has. As we remember last season, especially because of that safety car glitch that actually happened with Niek retiring or getting kicked from the lobby and then returning, where he, for some reason, overtook the safety car and then slowed the whole pack down and acted as a safety car. But yeah, as you say, apart from that, there's been some really good races here in the past seasons.
Yeah, another quality Codemasters glitch. And let's not forget the titanic battle that took place in Season 4 between Sandro Dulius and Vasilios Belasiotis. It was probably the only track that season where somebody was able to hold a candle besides Francis McGinn to Vasilios. And categorically, it's one of Sandro's better tracks. So here's hoping he has a good race today for sure. And we've got
absolutely.
Sandro and Colin Higgins and Dennis Carenchi's all on the live chat tuning in as we wait for a couple other drivers to hopefully dive in. We'll recap Season 6. We're recap Round 6 at Russia last time out, where Andrea Latrella took home his third pole position of the season and then backed it up with his third win of the season. Jensen Randall took home his 5th podium finish, so that's 5 podiums for him in 6 races. And Max Mulder with a surprise podium, 3rd because of timing penalties. It was great to see. Rennie van der Stappen was 4th. Sandro Dulius was 5th. Season 2 champ Alex Benarichetti was 6th. Funes van Houten 7th. Reese March 8th. Robin Herderstegen was 9th. And Luke Smith 10th. And then 11th through 18th, unfortunately, it was a race of attrition, was all DNFs. That was Cameron Weston Edwards, Esteban Hermanos, Liam Hill, Dennis Carenchi's, Louis Quinlan, Dion Stahl, Niek van Gelder, who did join me in the booth after his DNF, and Colin Higgins with his first DNF of the season.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it in qualifying that Russia doesn't really produce good racing, and like on the flip side, that race was absolutely packed with action. And as you said, like everyone outside the top 10, they ended up retiring, and especially in the closing stages where I think a little bit of internet issues with Luke Smith ended up costing Cameron a point and sending him straight into the wall, where we have seen, well, I think it was Nikita Mazepin squeezing Jack Aitken in Formula 2. Like, that was a hefty crash, that one. That was a really heavy crash.
Yeah, and had the game been, had it been a real race, it would have been a heavy crash for sure for Cameron Weston-Edwards. And surprisingly, Edwards and Luke Smith, they did talk after the race. There was no report given for the driver incident, so Luke gets to retain his 10th place finish, and those two worked it out off track. So that's kind of good to see. No penalty served, but yeah, it did cost Cameron valuable points, because realistically, he is the best of the rest right now. He's sitting third in the point standings with 48 points. Luke is right behind him with 45, but Luke is technically a reserve driver. So as it stands right now, don't see him making all of the races this season, but he has been making more races this season than in years past. So even though he's reserved, he's still kind of fighting for that third spot in the championship point standings. So, and he has been a bit of a spoiler this year too.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we talked about in qualifying last time out, is that even though he is a reserve and hasn't really made that many races, when he's been on track, he has had some really good results, and, well, find himself now battling for P3 in the driver's standings with Cameron at the moment. So it just goes to show that if you have the pace and you can scrap a few podiums together, I mean, even if you are a reserve driver, you can still be up there with the likes of Cameron, maybe not with Andrea and Jensen, but I mean, if he makes a full-time drive out of it next season, maybe we could have a three-way battle for the Drivers' Championship. Who knows?
And just to touch on how close it is in the point standings, I mean, Jensen and Andrea are close together. Jensen's the points leader, 114 points to his credit. Andrea right behind him at 109. And then obviously there's a huge gap back to Cameron. But Cameron, 48 points. He's the best of the rest. Luke at 45. Right behind him is Sandro at 39. Right behind Sandro is Rennie at 34. And right behind Rennie is Dennis at 29. And then you have Max Mulder because of his podium. He's right behind him at 27. So the mid-pack battle is really, for the lack of a better term, it's very 2020. The mid-pack battle in real F1 this year was intense all the way through. But you've got that huge separation at first and second place.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, Andrea and Jensen, they've just ran off at this point. But, yeah, the battle for the rest is really hotting up at the moment.
And it looks like we've got Olive Moy. That could be my buddy Ollie Flavel. I don't know, but he asks, who do we think is going to take pole? You know, it's really a crapshoot. It's going to either be Andrea, Jensen, or Luke. I hate to say that, but those three are categorically and statistically the fastest drivers. If I had to take a guess, the way it's gone this season, I'm going to say Andrea gets pole position today, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sandro doesn't come out with a shocked pole position, being one of his better tracks.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Andrea, Jensen, Luke could be a good candidate. I think we cannot look past Tim Venting, who is a driver's champion, of course, and he is driving today, but maybe because he's been away from the game for quite some time, he just needs to find his pace again, I guess we could say, and it might take a little bit more than just a couple of flying laps. So I would probably lean more towards a fight for a victory for Tim, but for pole position, I think I'm going to go Luke Smith.
Luke Smith for pole. I called Andrea. Tim, it is, you bring up a good point though. Tim Ventic, he's the defending champion. Now, he's only participated in one race this year, which was the opening round. He did win that race from pole position, but as you said, he's been out of the game a little bit and hasn't really participated full time, I don't think, in any faction, SRL or any other league. So could be interesting to see. And we do have another person on the live chat, Luis, rooting on his buddy Felipe, rooting on Pizza Boy. So
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where he is placed in all
wow,
of this
and
because
Luke Smith has retired from the session, so much for pole position.
Oh well, yeah. Well, yeah. I guess that throws my guess out of the window.
Don't know if that was from an on-track incident or not, but it looks like Tim was on a flyer, but he's invalidated his lap time. Dennis Karenchis has gotten into the session as well. So we'll pick up Jensen. And Jensen has invalidated his lap time. We'll pick up Sandro. Now Sandro currently is on a flyer. Let's get some lap data up here so we can see what's going on. Oh, and he's running into a slew of traffic. Gets around one car. He's got one of the McLarens in front of him.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this track is that obviously we know from real life that they are thinking about reworking the layout of this track for next season, so 2021. And from what I've heard, they're going to be scrapping the chicane and then running the long curve at the last corner, but I could be wrong, but that would be a very interesting layout for sure for next season, because drivers have been complaining about, and also in SRL, about the chicane being a little bit stop-start and a little bit awkward to race in, especially if you're side-by-side going into that section. It's pretty much impossible to get out of there without touching or running wide and cutting corners. So it's not really, that specific sector is really not a good part of the track for racing.
Just validated his lap time again. We'll pick up Dennis Karenchis. Dennis is out on the medium tires, and yeah, that should be said that chicane was added, I believe, during the V10 era when they thought the cars were carrying too much speed. From that point, because it was basically flat out from the top of the hill all the way down to the end of the front stretch. But
yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you look at it, there's other tracks that have just as long, if not longer, straights that are full throttle that come to a very hard braking zone like that. It has been kind of a thorn in everybody's side, online, in real life. The fans don't like it, the drivers don't like it, we don't like racing on it. It's time for it to go.
Yeah, and I think the good argument is that the cars, and this is of course for real life only, because in the game safety doesn't really matter at all, because it is a game, but in real life the cars are getting so much safer. We saw it in Bahrain with Romain Grosjean. I mean, the car split in half, caught fire, he still climbed out, he had minor burns at the end of the whole experience, and it speaks for the safety of Formula 1 cars today. So I think I agree with pretty much everyone and say scrap that chicane, let us run full throttle through the last corner.
So Dennis Karenchis is going to start a flying lap. Sandro Julius just came across the live chat. He's our resident weatherman, telling us that there is no rain expected in today's race, and he is currently sitting third quickest. Dion Stahl, the fastest driver, 1:15.898. That's a great qualifying effort by Dion. Don't see him running up front a whole lot here in the F1 series. Dennis is on purple in Sector 1. Currently riding along with him up to the top of the hill and down the short back straightaway.
Traffic on this track is also very crucial, that you catch the traffic, if you need to catch traffic, that you catch it in the right moments, like in the straights, and especially not in the last sector, as we talked about with the very narrow corners and very snaky bits of the track.
And down through this chicane that we've talked a lot about and we'll continue to talk about, because a lot of guys are going to invalidate their lap times. They're also going to pick up timing penalties, and it's usually at that chicane. Now, Dennis Karenchis went purple Sector 3, but it wasn't good enough. 1:16.181. Dion Stahl remains the only driver to crack into the 1:15s, but we're still waiting on a slew of drivers to set times. Cameron Weston Edwards has set a time of a 1:28.09, but I don't think that's his best effort. Felipe's going 1:21.99, good enough for 10th quickest so far, and he's coming across the line at a 1:29.03, so he does not improve his time that time by.
I want to point something out though. If we take a look at the tires, Dennis is on mediums, whereas Dion, Higgins, and Sandro, they're all on softs. Pretty much all the way down to P11, where we have Cameron, is on softs, apart from Dennis. So a really good lap time, in my opinion, from Dennis, and he can be faster with the softer compound, in my opinion.
And speaking of fast drivers on mediums, we're going to pick up Jensen Randall because he's out on the mediums as well. He's yet to set a time. He tried to put in a couple banker laps, but he invalidated both of them. He's now switched over to the mediums. And a driver of his caliber would be interesting to see if he's got the type of speed that Dennis has shown on the medium tires, because we know Jensen's quick, but we also know Jensen can be his own worst enemy sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And with one of his contenders for race victory today, Luke Smith, who's going to start from the back now, he really needs to get up there and get as far in front as he can to try and pull that victory. That's really crucial for him to maintain that lead in the standings.
Yeah, because as you said earlier, I mean, the few races that Luke has been in, he's been in 3 races. He's had a points-paying finish in every single one. He had a second place, and then he won a race. Last week he was almost in contention for a podium until he had that calamity with Cameron Wilson-Edwards. Still manages to finish 10th. So Luke's got the ability to run through the field. And anytime Luke finishes in the points, I mean, because he's a reserve, he's literally taking points out of your pocket. And
exactly.
When he took that win a couple races ago, I mean, that was a huge blow in the championship. And look at Sandro Julius, 1:15.475 to the top of the charts. We're riding along with Jensen Randall. Does Jensen have anything for him on these medium tires? And Cameron Wilson-Edwards is going 1:16.144, third quickest on the medium tires. Jensen now coming out of the last corner, he's going to get a little bit of slipstream off of Jan Holmes AlphaTauri at a 1:15.296. Sandro knocked off the top spot, unfortunately.
That's
and Niek
really
Van Gelder has left the session. Niek's car. Is Niek having internet issues again?
Hopefully not, because that did cause some issues last time out, and especially also last year on this track. So hopefully it's not something that continues to carry on into the race. But yeah, Jensen's lap time, what a lap time. I mean, on mediums, and it gives him the advantage when he needs to stop later in the race. If he doesn't switch compound and go for a faster lap, if he starts on the mediums, he could have a big upper hand on pretty much everyone. But as it looks right now, Andrea is also out on the mediums, so a lot of the faster guys going for mediums.
Yeah, we've just picked Andrea up, and we just got a notification that Yannick Verpaeten has joined the session.
So Haas are gonna have 2 drivers today. Oh wait, they already had. Oh, my bad.
So it looks like Andrea having to work around the lap traffic a little bit. Wonder if that's going to cost him at all.
I think down the straight it really helped him a little bit. He got a little bit of a slipstream, and well, the 2 cars that were in front of him did politely move out of the way, so shouldn't be too much of a trouble.
Andrea coming across the line, 1:15.365. He's a 10th of a second off of Jensen Randall, and he does that on the medium tires as well.
So our championship contenders locking out the front row in the order that they sit in the championship. I mean,
meanwhile, I'm going to pick up Tim Ventic, who is currently on an out lap. He is also on the medium tires. He's yet to set a time, but he's getting ready to come across the line to start a flyer. 6:20 left to play in the session.
Yeah, I don't know what the strategy is for this race. I guess we'll find out just as we come around for the formation lap before the race starts. But a lot of the faster guys, Dennis, Jensen, Andrea, and who is it? Cameron as well? No, he's not on the... my bad.
Looks like Liam Hill's joined the session as well, so we're going to have a full grid for today's race. And it looks like Tim Ventic is just going purple in Sector 1. He's got a lap traffic in front of him. That's Foons Van Houten. And he's come up on the back of Foons very quick. Foons trying to get out of the way at that very slow corner. That might have cost him a little bit of time.
Yeah. I mean, it's not one of the slowest corners, but it's still annoying to have that car in front of you, because when you arrive at a corner, you focus on the corner, and if there's a car in front of you, you need to focus on what he's doing to not hit him. And it takes a little bit of concentration away from getting the power down as perfect as possible. So might have cost him maybe a half a tenth.
Oh, and a big twitch there from Ventic in the chicane section. That was a huge moment, and he aborts the lap. And once again, no time set by Tim Ventic.
Yeah, that was a big twitch there.
We're going to pick up Felipe. Oh, Felipe is slow on track, letting another car go by. He's on his out lap.
But as you said, 20 drivers. I don't actually think we have had a race where officially 20 drivers have been registered for a start. We had a race, I believe in Season 3, or was it Season 4, I don't remember, where there was a wildcard who joined, who didn't get noted for that finishing position, but that was also a full grid, but only 19 drivers were noted for finishing. So this is the first time for This is the first time for SRL as well, to have 20 starting drivers. That's going to be really interesting.
Well, and it should be said, I mean, it might be the first time for a full grid, but, I mean, statistically speaking, the average car count this year, I mean, we're going into round 7, and the average car count's been 17 starting cars. So that's pretty good for online league racing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've seen some leagues that, you know, only have an average car count of 10, 11 cars, and everybody seems to get a point.
Yeah. I mean, considering where SRL was in Season 1...
Whoa! Felipe just lost the back end of his Alfa Romeo. And that's going to blow his lap time, unfortunately. That was that very slow left-hander at the end of the back straightaway. That's a really tight corner.
A little bit happy on the throttle there. So maybe a bit of a rookie mistake, we don't know. But yeah. Yeah, but as I was saying, as you said, 17 drivers on average. I mean, Season 1 we had a race where only 3 drivers were noted to start the race. So I guess we've come a long way as a... and it shows. There's also some good quality drivers in here. Really good quality, so... Yeah. It's come a long way.
And one of those drivers is going to be Max Mulder as we pick him up. He's getting ready to start his first hot lap. He's yet to set a time. We'll ride along with him down this long front straightaway.
It's going to be interesting to see if that podium last time out is going to boost his performance this weekend, because, I mean, he was driving perfectly last time out in Russia. So maybe that could give him a little boost to get some more points, maybe sneak into a podium again, who knows?
Now, he did get that podium with the benefit of some timing penalties, but he really did run a good, solid race, considering that he's struggled so much this year, not only in F1, but also in the sports car series on Gran Turismo Sport. He has struggled to find pace, and he did find some last week. Whoa, and a big twitch coming out of there. Almost lost it. Looks like he's still on the throttle. He hasn't given up on the lap time. But yeah, he did run a good, solid race, and he benefited from... I don't think he actually had any timing penalties. It was one of the huge benefits. All the drivers in front of him did have timing penalties, so that was one of the big things there, was mistake-free run by him, and it really ended up being, he was the benefit of other guys' mistakes. And he's coming up on the back of Cameron Weston Edwards' car now. See if he get a little bit of a slipstream down the short chute here.
Oh yeah, that could really benefit him here.
And here we go.
That chicane wasn't really that good. It could be taken a little bit better, but I mean, still a good lap time.
But it goes to show you how close it is. So 5th through 13 is separated by 0.6 of a second. That's how close the midfield battle is. Now you do have 1st through 4th are all drivers that have cracked into the 115s, and they're only separated by 0.6 of a second. So
yeah. And the interesting thing is that, like the top 5, 3 out of 5 drivers is on medium tires. So that's really impressive.
And if I saw the timing and scoring correctly, Jensen Randall was 1/10 of a second up of his previous time. Jensen's going to come across the line. And it's a 1:15.117 And that is going to be a knuckle in the back of Andrea Latrella. We'll pick up Andrea. It looks like Andrea is not necessarily on a hot lap.
That's a lap time that's going to put Andrea under pressure.
Well, Andrea's going to run out of time. He's not going to make it back to the checkered flag, so his time is going to be stuck at the 1:15. Cameron Weston Edwards is just retired from the session, so now time is up. Checkered flags are starting to fall. Esteban is locked in at the 1:16. Reese March is locked in at 1:16. Pick up Niek van Gelder. I guess Niek got back into the session and I never noticed. Looks like Red Bull's trying to do some team strategy here as they run back-to-back on the back straightaway.
Trying to get each other up the grid. It seems like they're trying to boost Euro's starting position, as it looks. It could just be coincidence that they're running in front of each other, but yeah. But I just want to point something out. It must be so devastating to be Sandro at the moment. He's on the softest compounded tires. He's sitting on a 1:15.4 and he's just watching Jensen crack a 1:15.1 and he's thinking, what do I got to do to beat that? I mean, I can't. It must be so devastating to sit there and just look at you, two drivers going in front of you on a step harder tires.
And Sandro Dulius has left the session, which is going to be an issue because it is now giving us a migrating host. And Sandro usually doesn't have internet issues, so that's a bit peculiar. Could be.
He should have an invite if procedures do follow as usual, because usually another driver sends him a spare invite, so he may be able to get back in.
And that's weird. We don't see Sandro really ever have an internet issue, so possibly another quality Codemasters glitch.
Could be. I mean, this game is far from as polished as we think it could be, and it's going to also be interesting with the news coming in that EA have bought Codemasters for 2021 and onwards. So, I mean, if it's going to make the games much better, we welcome it. If it's not going to do anything, what's the point, really, I guess?
I mean, honestly, how do we feel about that? Because EA has a very obscure track record. You know, they primarily function in the sports area, FIFA, Madden, stuff like that. But it's been a long time since they've touched a racing game, and
yeah,
I don't know. But here's your starting order. Jensen Randall, Tim Ventic was second, Andrea Latrella, Sandro Dulius, Cameron Weston Edwards is fourth, Dennis Carenci sixth, Dion Stahl is seventh, Esteban Hermanos is eighth, Foons Van Houten is ninth, Colin Higgins 10th, Reese March will be 11th, Johan Marusic is 12th, Niek van Gelder 13th, Max Mulder is 14th, Rennie Vanderstapp surprisingly all the way down at 15th, Jan Holm is 16th, Felipe is 17th on his first outing, Yannick Verpaten is 18th, and Liam Hill and Luke Smith did not set a time. So, Liam Hill and Luke Smith starting in the back, those two are pretty quick drivers.
Yeah. Well, we know that Liam did have a qualifying ban coming off Russia because of his, I think it was entanglement with Esteban Hermanos, if I remember correctly. So he got a qualifying ban there. Luke, we don't really know what happened there, but it's going to be interesting to see those two come through the field because definitely they are faster than, well, I would say mostly everyone outside of top 10.
And Nick saying he accidentally loaded the wrong helmet design, so don't mind that. That's
okay.
That's such a Nick thing. Such a Nick thing.
It is.
Nick is.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen Lewis Hamilton do that. Crack a lap time and then go in, oh shit, I forgot the correct helmet design, and then just jump out of the car, strap the right helmet, and then go out and qualify again. But I guess that's what we can enjoy with this game.
So here is the running order. We'll run it down one more time during the Formation Lap. Championship points leader out in front for another pole position, his third pole position of the season. Jensen Randall. Tim Bentic, the Season 5 defending champion, starting in second. Now, he's only participated in one race this year. He's finished first in that race. We'll see what he can do today. And second in points, Andrea Latella, starting in third. So the top three drivers, that's going to be really hard to watch and really fun to watch. Sandro Dulius is going to be starting in the fourth spot. One of his better tracks, almost had pole position. And he's got Cameron Westman Edwards behind him. Often said that they are on-track rivals, off-track friends. Cameron does a lot of work behind the scenes for SRL with Sandro. And Dion Stahl, his longtime teammate for Sandro, got sandwiched. Well, he's sandwiching Cameron Weston Edwards as he's starting in the sixth spot. Esteban Hermanos is going to be starting in seventh. Foons Van Houten is eighth, followed by his teammate Colin Higgins. And Reese March did muster out 10th. And I do want to give another shout out to Reese March. He finished first in the F3 race last week for IRL at Monaco. It was his first IRL win. And if you're going to win one lonesome race, it better be Monaco. He ran a perfect race in the F3 tier. So congratulations to him on that. He's starting in 10th spot. Jo Marusic and Niek van Gelder, the two Red Bulls, well off the pace as they're starting at 11th and 12th. Max Mulder coming off of that podium finish last time out at Sochi, going to be starting back in 13th. Rennie Vanderstapp really off the pace, which is uncharacteristic of him, starting in 14th. Jan Holm is going to be starting in 15th. Pizza Boy Felipe making his SRL debut, starting in the 16th spot. And then we've got Luke Smith, who did not set a time. He's going to start on the hard tires. Liam Hill, no time set by him at 18th. Dennis Carenci is 19th. And Yannick Verpayten is 20th. And why is Dennis 19th? I thought he set a time of like 6th quickest.
I guess there's only one explanation, and that is Codemasters, I guess.
Does he have a underlining qualifying ban that I don't remember?
No, because he did post a lap time. And so did Yannick. So that's kind of strange.
Either way, the 5 red lights are out. Yes, they are. Time to run what you brung. They're away to puff of smoke. And it's a good start for Andrea Latella. And Cameron Weston Edwards goes down to the inside. And Cameron Weston Edwards going to try and get a 2-for-1 deal. And he's going to dive in and he picks up third spot. And one of the, looks like that's a Williams that has cut the chicane there at turn 1. Cameron Weston Edwards up into third. Oh, and one of the Renaults that was Foons Van Houten got real squirrely coming out of that. And Sandro Dulius, fourth down to 7th, and he's got his teammate on the inside of him. And here comes Dion. Dion gets the deal. What is this? That is Colin Higgins just trying to cut. Oh no, and Sandro's left the session. Sandro must be having internet issues. Reese March has left the session.
I don't know what's going on here. There must be some...
Oh, and one, oh my goodness, and one of the racing points has gone around. We've got ourselves a safety car. Oh, and there's a bunch of cars around. That's Colin Higgins, Yannick Verpayten, Max Mulder. And safety car is out. And
really
Sandro,
chaotic start. Wow.
Sandro and Reese left the session. That's weird. That's okay, Reese March has rejoined. Sandro has rejoined.
So it seems like those two are having some sort of connection issues. If it's just to the Codemasters servers, or if it's internet issues in general, I guess we will find out at some point. But
you know what? It's funny because I just checked in the live chat and we mentioned Dennis Carenci starting in 19th, and he even asked, why am I starting in 19th? Because he was 6th quickest. I do want to give a shout out to Tiago. Looks like he's on here rooting on his boy, Pizza Boy Felipe, who is currently sitting in the 15th position. So, Codemasters strikes again. Yannick and Dennis Carenci starting, 19th and 20th. They both set a lap time, so they shouldn't be 19th and 20th. That should have been Luke Smith and Liam Hill.
Absolutely.
Sandro left the session. Reese left the session. There was a calamity of 3 cars between Higgins, Verpayten, and Max Mulder. But none of them DNF, so kind of weird.
I guess as long as you're in the race, there's still technically a chance to win it. I mean, you got to be in it to win it, and in order to finish first you have to finish. So, and all the other quotes that is about winning. But I guess what we're trying to say is that as long as they don't retire, they have a chance of actually getting something away from this race. And with a safety car, that's basically just going to compact the whole field down to basically a second starting grid. It's going to help them massively out.
And what a start by Cameron Weston Edwards. 5th to 3rd. Made a great run down the front straightaway. And that's one of the things, I talked to Cameron last season before the season opened. It was one of the things that he really strived to work on was his start. And since last season, aside from drivers that start in the first or second position, Cameron Weston Edwards has picked up the most positions on an opening lap than any other driver in the league the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's been really good with getting out of the starting box, I guess we could say. And, well, he's going to do what he's going to do best now, because he's going to have to try and see if he can attack while defending. And the one he's attacking is not easy to get by. The one he's defending from is not going to be as easy to defend from. So he's got his work cut out if he wants to take a podium today, because Andrea, we know how fast he is. Jensen, we know how, I guess, great of a driver he is. If he gets the pace up and running, I don't think Cameron is going to have an answer for it. So I think what he really needs to do is get him into either turn 1 or maybe because of a mistake on the restart from Jensen. That's what Cameron really needs to hope for right now. And
let's give a quick shout out to Esteban Hermanos, working his way up into 5th place in the Haas. Good start on him. Sandro, the biggest loser probably in all that, was lost connection, left the session, dropped from 4th to 8th.
Yeah, really.
And another big mover on that was Felipe, the pizza boy, who started down in 17th, has now worked his way up into 12th because of the calamity. So good on him. He's just outside of the points paying positions, but he's got Dennis Carenchis and Luke Smith in front of him. So that's going to be those are a couple of really fast drivers to try and get around to crack into that top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
The safety car in this lap will pick up the control car, Tim Bentic. And Tim is off to the races. Good jump by Tim. And Jensen caught napping as he's coming out of the last corner. And a 3-second time penalty for Funs Van Houten at the restart. And here comes Cameron Weston Edwards. He's going to peek to the inside. Not going to be close enough to make it happen this time by.
Yeah, that was really what Cameron needed. He needed Tim to get a really good restart and maybe catch Jensen napping, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately.
When Felipe looks like he's under pressure, he lost a couple of spots on the restart. He's all over the back of Funs Van Houten. Funs has got a 3-second time penalty already, and woo! Cuts across the nose of the other Haas, that's Reese March. Reese dives to the inside. Ooh, it gives him a little bit of a shoulder check, pushes him wide. That was a bit of a late move by Reese. And Dion Stahl picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. So Felipe, one of the McLarens is around. That's Rennie Vanderstappen.
Oh, Rennie is not having a good weekend so far. That's really, really bad.
Rennie with a poor qualifying effort started 14th. I don't think he was caught in the first melee, but he's caught in this melee. And Max Mulder is bringing up the rear in 20th. So lots of stuff going on. We're going to pick up Luke Smith. He's all over the back of Sandro Dulius.
The unfortunate thing for Rennie there was that he actually lost a bit of his front wing, so he needs to change that if it's bothering him too much, unfortunately.
And here we've got, looks like Dennis Carenchis on the inside of Jurma Rusic, and he's going to do that with no DRS. Makes the pass. You're trying to hang tough with him around this sweeping right-hander, turn 3. But he's going to get a lot of aero wash off of Dennis's car, so he's going to lose ground there.
Oh, yeah. That was a really old school overtake. No DRS, no assistance there. Just the good old slipstream and, well, I guess dive to the inside.
And Liam Hill now. Liam Hill's all over the back of Jurma Rusic. This is for the 10th spot. Luke Smith just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Oh, and one of the Renaults, that Spoons Van Houten, has gone into the wall. That's the same spot that Rennie went off, so a lot of guys getting called out at that quick right, left, right, up the hill.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on previous games, it has been a corner that unsettles the cars a little bit because, of course, the quick direction change, but I wonder if that is a case of auto spin curve that is coming back to the F1 game.
And Cameron Weston Edwards has lost the 3rd spot to Andrea Latrella, and he's got Esteban Hermanos behind him in the 5th spot. And Cameron and Esteban, now Esteban just picked up a 3-second time penalty. But that's unfortunate for Cameron, and it's weird that, you know, the 3 fastest drivers are the ones at the front with the medium tires. That's
yeah.
Oh, and it looks like Felipe might have lost a couple other spots. Might have had an issue with the turn 1-2 complex. Oh, he might have wing damage. He's running wide. He's out on the gravel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's got some wing damage. Yeah, the left front. Oh, yeah, the whole front left is completely gone on the on Felipe's car. So he's had an issue. Keep it under control, Felipe. Bring it back to the pits, buddy. Get a wing and a new set of shoes and get back on track. You can do it.
Yeah. But yeah, as you said, really interesting that the front 3 all running mediums. I guess what speaks for this is that the softs are underway to lose its grip at the moment, but it's still a little bit early also considering that we had a lot of safety car running.
Well, Luke Smith is about to make the move on Dion Stahl down this front straightaway. Blows by him with the DRS. It should be noted, Luke is on those hard tires as well, so he's going to run a really long first stint. And he is now up into 7th spot. He does have that 1 3-second time penalty.
But we know that with that
Oh,
pace,
I'm sorry, that wasn't Dion Stahl. That was Sandro that he got around, so that drops Sandro. Dion's actually running in 6th spot.
Yeah, but we know that with Luke's pace and also the guys that he is sitting around, they still have some time penalties, so it's not as big of a problem as it could be, but maybe towards the end of the race he needs to look to maybe just put pedal to the metal and just gap that 3 seconds.
Meanwhile, Jensen Randall has started to close in on Tim Ventic for the top spot. And it should be said, even though this is it's funny, Tim Ventic, Jensen Randall, I mean, it's very much a Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas relationship. Tim was obviously the A driver last year. Jensen trying to make a name for himself. There's no love lost between these two guys. There's no team orders. These guys are going to go at it blow for sure. And Tim trying to squeeze Jensen and cuts across his nose. Whew! That was a close one. And Yannick Verpeyten just picked up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, and it just shows that if Jensen wants to pull a move on his teammate, well, he's not going to let the door stand open for Jensen when he dives. So he really needs to just stick his nose in there and force Tim to open the door. And, I mean, it could produce a crash if they are not careful, both of them. We know how, I don't really know what the word is, but Tim last year, especially when he was in a battle with Vasilios, I mean, it could get really heated at times because those two, it didn't really seem like they respected as much each other. I guess it's speculation.
Tim's a bit of a hothead. He does get a little heated relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I think last year part of that was, though, and these guys are got to get around Felipe, so Pizza Boy giving them both a slipstream and DRS, so that's good for Tim. But I think Tim's problem last year was that Tim had this notion that he was the fastest driver on track and that you should get out of my way, I'm quicker than you. It was very much almost a Felipe Massa, Fernando Alonso type thing. You know, He's faster than you. You need to get out of the way. And that was Tim's mentality. He always thought he was the fastest driver on track, and that wasn't always the case. Jensen, we know from last year's incidents, can be his own worst enemy sometimes, buckles under the pressure a little bit. He seems to have matured a lot as a driver over the offseason. But, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how these two, is there a mutual respect between these two? I mean, Jensen wants to win the championship. He is the championship points leader. Tim's only done one race this year, so it's almost like a role reversal now. Now Jensen's going to have the mentality, I'm the A driver, I'm the fastest driver, you should get out of my way. And Tim's going to have the same mentality he had last year. I'm not giving you that spot.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to give Colin Higgins anything bad here, because we do have to remember he was the teammate of Tim last year, and Colin really never got close to matching Tim in that Renault when Tim became champion. So I guess this is also the first time for Tim having a teammate who's really able to push him when it comes to top fight battles. And he's really not used to that, whereas Jensen, he's new to SRL in that sense that he only joined for the last 4 races the last season. So they're both very new to this situation, and they both want to mark their territory as, well, I'm number one, you don't have anything to say over me, kind of mentality.
And a quick shout out to Luke Smith and Liam Hill, who were started 17th and 18th in this race, are now running 4th and 5th, and Liam Hill is all into the back of Luke Smith, trying to make a move on him. And we've got Ivan Brito on the live chat. Good old Ivan from PTRL. Good to see him back on the live chat, saying he misses SRL so much. And Ivan, we miss you as well. Long-time driver for SRL. Always a character. Always good to be around. Fun to watch.
Yeah, now that we are talking about Ivan, I think a good shout-out for him would be that this race is actually one of his best qualifying positions in his SRL career. I think he qualified like P3 or something like that. In one
and
of
here
the
comes
Spanish
Liam Hill. He's got the DRS advantage, and he's going to blow by Luke Smith down the front straightaway. Jan Holmes picked up a 3-second time penalty, and Liam Hill up into the 4th spot.
Yeah, he's really pushing it right now.
So he's going to set his sights. Oh, and Jan Holmes retired from the session. What has happened to Jan?
Has he crashed?
And a safety car. We'll pick up your Marusic and see if we can see where his car went off. And it's going to be coming out of this corner. He's probably, he's off to the right. Yep, he's crashed into the wall.
Oh.
That's that tricky, real tight left-hander. You put the power down, you lose the car, and into the wall you go.
Yeah, I think we saw Felipe do kind of the same thing in qualifying, I think it was.
Yep, absolutely.
Put the power down a little bit too early, and unfortunately for Jan, it produced a worse outcome than what happened to Felipe in qualifying. But this is going to throw a spanner into the works for a lot of the medium runner. Well, there's only medium and hard runners.
Well, I mean, there's guys that started on the mediums, the first, the top 4 drivers.
Yeah, and then you've got potentially box.
Oh, so it looks like Tim Ventic is in. Does Luke stay out on the hards?
Well, I think he has to, because, well, it's on the hards, and if he has to swap tires, it's going to be over to the mediums. I don't think they can go, 20, just around maybe 20 laps when the safety car comes in. I think that's a little bit too much to ask for the mediums, and I think he would much rather have just free air in front of him when the restart goes underway, and just see if he can build a gap, and see if he can gap a pit stop between him and second place.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there was much change for the top 3 runners. Tim got out. Andrea got out before Jensen. So
yeah, I think that has to do with how close the Mercedes drivers were to each other. If they both boxed.
Oh, they probably double stacked, and that's bad news bears for Jensen. So he lost out on the spot. Andrea picks it up. Dennis Carenchis comes out 5th. Reese March quietly works his way into the 6th spot. Good on him. Nick Van Gelder, haven't heard much from him today, but he's now up into 7th. Esteban is 8th. Liam Hill 9th, and Dion Stahl 10th. Meanwhile, you've got some really good drivers deeper in the field. Cameron Weston Edwards is going to be out 11th. Sandra is struggling today, 13th. And Rennie, I don't know what's happened to Rennie today. This is such an uncharacteristic race for Rennie Vanderstappen.
Yeah, he's had a really poor race so far. Hopefully,
he's
it can
switching
turn
over
around.
To soft tires.
So he's definitely making another stop at some point during the race.
And Felipe is going to be 19th.
I wonder if Rene is gambling on a quick start after the restart, after the safety car, because on softs you can make moves left, right and center on this track. There's really good opportunities for overtakes in the first two sectors. So I mean, if he can heat those tires up and have them working, could he potentially strike into the top 10 on lap 1 or something like that?
And it looks like Esteban has headed into the pits. Esteban's got 3-lap-old medium tires. Why is he pitting?
I think what he's...
maybe he botched his... Oh, he's got wing damage.
Oh, then he must have either clipped someone or something at one point.
That's the one thing I'll say about the safety car in this game. This isn't a jab at necessarily SRL, because I do a lot of work for a lot of other leagues, but I do see a lot of mistakes made under safety car conditions. And
yeah,
honestly, I think it's because when people play online and do open lobbies, there's so many 5-lap races that people contend in. You don't get stuck doing safety car conditions a whole lot unless you're doing a 25 or 50% race. So you don't really get to practice being slow.
I guess that's correct.
It's to say, but realistically, I mean, that's what it is, I think.
Yeah, and like it's not like anyone in a practice session goes, okay, now we need a driver to crash in order to cause a safety car. I mean, that's not something that happens. So I guess you are correct that a lot of these drivers, unless they've tried it in a real race at one point, they don't really get that much safety car running and practice behind. And if someone in front of you just jumps on the brakes, if you're too close, well, you're going to smash into the back of him. I've tried it myself before, and it is annoying, but it's just the way it is, I guess.
Now, hold on a tick. I've just noticed Luke Smith's got wing damage on the left front. His left front wing is destroyed.
Yeah, I just saw that. He's missing an end plate there. Oh, well, he's not only missing an end plate, he's missing...
He must have done that. He must have done that by himself. He must have, as we said, made a mistake under the safety car. Oh, wow, that is...
Well, I mean, he couldn't have hit the safety car because that disqualifies you. So he's hit the wall at some point.
And he's going to swap over to medium. That's a huge blow. And Ivan Brito just came on the live chat saying he thinks Tim's going to win. And honestly, that with Luke dropping all the way to 17, all the way to 17, Tim's going to be sitting in the catbird seat. I don't know. This could be the battle. We didn't really get to see this battle a whole lot last year, Andrea versus Tim, and this is kind of the battle that we talked about towards the end of the season last year, because Andrea came into the season very late, and we knew he had pace, and we never really got to see the battle between these two guys. Could be really interesting to see how that's going to measure up. Perhaps I've lost Sam for a hot second.
Yeah, I'm back now. Yeah, there was some internet connection issues right there, so I don't know what that was about.
But as I was saying, we didn't get to see this battle between Andrea and Tim a whole lot last year.
No, we didn't. I mean, Andrea was only with us for a couple of races last season, just like Jensen, so... And Andrea was running in... When he was leading, Tim wasn't really close to him, so we didn't really get to see them battle a lot.
This is going to be very interesting to watch. Ivan saying he thinks Tim's going to win. I think Tim might have his work cut out for him. But he's already gapped Andrea.
Well, that was a really good restart. Right?
Another good restart by Tim Bentic. And look at Dennis Karenchis. And Dennis, he is all over the back. Look at this, down to the inside. Jensen's going to try and get into the inside of Andrea. Look at they make contact. Dennis tries to cut across. And Tim is off to the races. Dennis to the inside of Jensen, down through turn 3. He's got the inside line as they head into turn 4. And a great move by Dennis Karenchis.
What a great drive through turn 3 from Dennis. That was
and
really
Andrea with a
clever.
huge lockup on that left front.
Oh yeah, Andrea's under pressure. He feels Dennis coming. That was a really good restart by Dennis there. He was the guy who profited the best from this.
And he's on the medium tires versus the hards.
Yeah, so the questions are if he's going to be able to make it to the end, but I guess that's not his problem right now. The thing that he's focusing on is the AlphaTauri in front.
Well, I mean, to be fair, 20 laps on hard tires, I mean, I don't know, that's probably not too hateful. So the hard tires might, start to wear a little bit towards the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, the hard tires can definitely go to the end, in my opinion. But the mediums I'm a little bit more unsure of, and that's why I think maybe Dennis will have to box again at some point. But I mean, if Andrea keeps treating the tires like he is doing right now, locking up, well, that much, he could be heading into the pits himself.
And you say that, I mean, we saw he had another lockup heading into the turn 1. And look at that, Tim just had another lockup, a little puff of smoke coming out of the left front on him. So these guys are really pushing here at the restart.
Yeah.
So Jensen drops back to 4th. He's got Reese March. Reese having a great run up into 5th now. And he's got Liam Hill behind him. Cameron Weston Edwards has worked his way back into 7th.
Yeah, I want to touch on Reese a little bit because he's not had a really good season so far this year. But I mean, this race, if it keeps going the way it's doing, it could be a really good one for him. We have to remember, he only has 1 podium in SRL so far. So could this be... I don't want to jinx anything, absolutely not. But there is maybe a slight chance if he can catch Jensen and keep up with him, that there could be a podium on the horizon if he is lucky enough.
I'll tell you what, that drive that he had last week in IRL in the F3 series... at Monaco, I mean, even Reese was surprised. And Monaco's such a hard track with these cars. The cars are too wide, they're too big, the track's too small. But I'll tell you, Reese ran like a veteran. I mean, he had pressure pretty much the whole race. It was very much an Ayrton Senna, Nigel Mansell type battle. Like, Reese was not the fastest driver on track, but he was not letting anybody get by him. And it was spectacular to see him hold off, Tom Jewell for so many laps, not put a foot wrong, didn't make a mistake, hit his marks. And I think that really gave him a boost of confidence that he can carry over, obviously, to any other type of league racing that he's going to do. And I think it's showing today. I mean, he's really run it's been a quiet race, but it's been a really solid race at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a good form carries over. I would like to think, at least, depending on what cars you're driving, of course. And the interesting thing now is that Tim actually has a penalty.
Yeah, Tim's picked up a 3-second time penalty, so, I mean, that would... Oh, and here goes Liam Hill on Reese, so Liam's going to get that spot, compliments of the DRF. Drops Reese back to 6th, but a 3-second time penalty, that would basically cost him the win. Andrea would take the win, and Dennis, I mean, still a long way to go, and anybody else could get a number of time penalties, but it looks like Max Mulder is having a bit of an issue here. Looks like he's gotten passed by a couple of cars. Oh, this is Esteban and Foons Van Houten battling it out, and this is... Oh, and Esteban trying to work his way around. He makes contact with Foons. Saves it, drifts it around the corner. What a save by Esteban as him and Foons made contact. Here comes Jurma Rusic. And
Really
Yor loses the back end of the car. That opens the door for Max Mulder to take the spot.
Ooh, yeah.
And again, Esteban all over the back of him.
That corner has caused so much trouble for drivers today. The one that Jura lost it at, but...
Yeah, he's about the third or fourth driver we've seen lose the back end.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, I wonder if it's a bit of the curb spin from previous years where... I think it was last game, F1 2019 was probably the worst for it. Basically, you touch a curb and you're done.
Yeah, that's true.
And Luke Smith has just made a move to get around Dion Stahl up into the 9th spot.
I mean, this man, where did he come out when he was finished with his pit stop that was unscheduled?
17.
Yeah, I mean, he's already into P9. There's only 2 laps to go that we had the restart. I mean, it just shows how fast he is. And also why he's sitting in P3 in the... Oh, no, he's sitting in P4 in the driver's standings. My bad.
P4, but only by 3 points.
Yeah, and he is, well, catching Niek, but in front of Niek, we have Cameron, who is sitting in P3.
And we've got a little bit of separation now. Oh, and Max Mulder picks up a 3-second time penalty. Now, I don't know how many time penalties that is. I'm not going to look and see because for you viewers at home, I like leaving the time penalties as a surprise for everybody at the end of the race.
Yeah, it is something that, well, can spring a surprise. We saw that last race where, well, Luke, he had, what, 15 seconds worth of penalties?
Oh, yeah. They finished 5th and dropped all the way to 10th.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also something, especially I remember myself in Baku last year. Well, at one point me and Niek were battling, and Jensen had to make a stop because he smashed his front wing. I mean, this year's game, it shows you the penalties, so it's a little bit easy to work around, but I didn't realize before he had passed me on the penultimate lap, he actually had a 3-second time penalty, and we were potentially battling for a podium, so there is a bit of a surprise element in that. For the drivers, of course, but now they can see it, so it's a little bit less of a surprise because they can see that the driver in front has a penalty, and they can also see how big the penalty is. So, I mean, it's not as much of a surprise anymore as it was.
But from our standpoint, we can see who has the penalties. I don't know how many penalties they've got. I know Yannick has picked up a couple of them, and Esteban just picked up another one as well, and he's currently running down in 16.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know really what has happened to Esteban. He was running P5, P6 at one point, and he's dropped off massively after he made his pit stop.
It looks like he was running better with wing damage than without. Meanwhile, Jensen Randall and Dennis Carenchis have started to close in this gap to Andrea Latrella. Andrea running in second. He's 2.7 seconds off of Tim, but right behind him, here comes Dennis, Jensen, and Liam Hill, all within a second of each other.
This pack we have right here is just, I mean, Liam Hill, we have seen some things from him. He's a really good and aggressive driver. Jensen, we know how good he can be. Then he's also a very aggressive driver. And Andrea has not really been in battles that much over his SRL career, because he's mainly either been running out in the front or by himself.
And Luke Smith and Liam Hill both pick up more time penalties. Foons Van Houten picks up a time penalty. And you bring up Dennis Carenchis, and you use the word aggressive, and I think that's a perfect word for him. Dennis reminds me a lot of Cameron Weston-Evans.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Those two really, really protect their space around their car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Andrea was able to pick up the pace a little bit, and he must have heard us talking because he's now gotten Dennis by about a couple more tenths, so it's now at the 7/10 of a second. Meanwhile, Jensen Randall and Liam Hill still coming within half a second of each other.
Well, it's still not enough, because we have to remember DRS down the straight. even though Andrea is gapping them around the corners, if they have DRS, they're just going to close that gap on the straights, and it's not really evolving the way that Andrea maybe wants to.
Into the top of the hill, the DRS. Now that's a very short shoot. You got this really tight left-hander, and this has caught out a lot of people today. Jan Holm crashed here. Felipe had a near spin during qualifying. Had another driver, I think it was Foons, actually had a moment there as well earlier in the race.
Yeah, and it's kind of strange because it's a very flat curb and a very flat corner. I would usually think that the corner following, where there's a little bit of a banking where you like climb over a crest, that can unsettle the car.
Yeah, that left-right interchange could definitely throw a car off real quick. I ran some time trial before the race, and that was a very difficult corner for me.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely unsettles the car a lot. Turns out I'm still not fast enough to race, so I think my best time was like a 1:19.545 or something like that.
Yeah, I guess that's why we're sitting here and they are down there racing.
And Luke Smith is all over the back of Niek van Gelder for the 8th position.
It's going to be interesting to see what Niek can do. Right now, Cameron, pretty much the only one apart from Andrea, Dennis, and Jensen who doesn't have a penalty.
And Luke lost a ton of time through the second sector over Niek, so...
Does he have any wing damage, maybe, or something like that?
I'm trying to get a good look at the front of the car. It doesn't look like he does, but he lost like a whole second through that second sector.
Could just be the dirty air, of course, but that's still kind of strange. Usually a driver behind is still able to keep somewhat close to the driver in front.
And Tim Ventic has just set another fastest lap.
He's really cranked it up to maximum at the moment.
And meanwhile, Andrea is now under pressure once again from Dennis Carenci. The gap is now back to 0.6 of a second. Nothing's changed position-wise here. It's still Andrea, Dennis, Jensen, and Liam, but really one small mistake from any of these drivers, and they are going to be able to pounce. Colin Higgins heads into the pits. Looks like he's going to switch over to a fresh set of mediums and run them to the end of this race.
Yeah, I would think so as well. But Andrea right now not really able to focus ahead of him and trying to close down Tim. He is having to be a little bit more cautious about the drivers behind him. So maybe that's taking some pressure off Tim's shoulders at the moment.
3.5 second gap back from Tim Ventic to Andrea. Liam Hill was probably the closest one in this bunch to make a move, and that was going to be over Jensen Randall for 4th.
Yeah, but the problem is that Jensen himself has DRS of Dennis, so I mean, it really doesn't help that much that you're close.
Oh, and Esteban Hermanos has retired from the session.
Ooh, he was having a good race, and it's just got from worst to absolute worst.
And it looks like Esteban is he's
retired on his own merits.
Yeah, he didn't crash. He's guess he's calling it a day. That's unfortunate, Esteban. That's as aggravated as I could get sometimes. I just can't get behind the rage quit.
No, I don't understand it either. I mean, maybe he's short on time when it comes to some stuff that he needs to do in his personal life. We don't know, obviously, and if it's something like that, well, I can understand it, but a rage quit is never something that I have quite understood, as you say.
Meanwhile, Liam Hill and Jensen Randall really starting to heat things up now. It looks like Jensen's losing a little bit of time to Dennis, so he's falling back from Dennis, and Liam is closing in on him, and this is the closest Liam Hill has been. And even though they'll both have DRS, Liam Hill's still going to have the slipstream. And we got a car coming out of the pits. Dennis dives down to get a little bit of slipstream. And it's Yannick Verpaeten, and Dennis opens the door for Jensen Randall. Jensen goes by. Liam Hill loses out on this because he couldn't make a pass. But now Liam's getting all over the back of Dennis Carenci's around the outside of turn 3. Getting ready to head into turn 4 as we ride along with Liam Hill. And now Jensen's going to set his sights on Andrea Latrella for second. Liam Hill dives to the inside. What a move. And they make contact. There's a little bit of argy-bargy going on there. Be careful. Dennis is still to the inside. They make more contact. And Liam Hill's finally going to make the move. Gets in front of him. Dennis, though, Dennis is not one to take kindly to that.
Nope.
And here comes Dennis, and he's going to get to the inside of Liam Hill. Liam blocks him all the way down to the grass. Liam makes the move, gets back by him.
Ooh, that's really aggressive driving from both of the drivers, but...
Oh, and a big twitch from Liam Hill coming out of that last corner. And yeah, that is some really aggressive driving from both of those guys. That is, Liam tried throwing that block. I knew Dennis was not going to have any of it. No. All the way down to the grass. And luckily for them, Andrea has now been able to separate himself from Jensen. Jensen's now 2.5 back. And it looks like Andrea was able to pick up a little bit of slipstream off of Felipe's car down the front straightaway.
But all of that started only because Niek came out of the pits. I mean, that's just crazy. Liam
Hill's not done with Dennis. He's closed up the gap onto the first sector. He's now 4/10 a second back. He's all over the gearbox now.
Yeah, this could end in a crash if they're not careful. I mean, these two right now, all of them, both of them, so much like anger and I'm gonna get you, and like it's gonna be a heated battle once they clash again.
And we've still got a couple of guys in the live chat cheering on Felipe. I appreciate everybody in the, he's got fans in the stands. I appreciate everybody joining in on the live chat, cheering on Felipe. I wish he was having a better race for you guys, as we see a big wiggle out of Liam Hill's car.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to have support. I mean, we saw Polish fans when Robert Kubica came back into Formula 1, even though he was running plumb last. I mean, he still had some fans, so that's always great.
And Ivan Brito, I mean, he's in the live chat as well, but Ivan always had guys joining in on the live chat to support him in his race, even though Ivan, was mid-pack to, back marker, most of the time. So,
yeah.
I love the support and love that these guys have for their friend and their countrymen. And hopefully that continues. And hopefully Felipe will be able to... He has moved up to 16, so he has gained a spot.
Yeah, and he didn't have a bad qualifying in my opinion as well. I mean, it can always be a bit tricky coming into a new league and learning all of the ropes with regulations and stuff like that. But I think, in my opinion, he hasn't really been controversial in the sense that he's caused a massive crash or been in someone's way who's trying to lap him. So in that sense, I think he's done really well.
And speaking of controversy, Dennis Carenci's opening the door for Liam Hill. Could be a bit of controversy here if these guys get together again. And Liam Hill, again, all over the gearbox of the Racing Point. Ooh, gives him a little bit of the NASCAR bump and run. Didn't work, but he's going to have the slipstream. You see Dennis Carenci's trying to snake his way down the front straightaway a little bit, break up that slipstream. He's all the way down to the inside, taking away that defensive line. He's going to swing back to the outside, and he's going to hang on to it. Crossover move from Liam Hill, can't make it work. Loses the back end a little bit on the curbing. Ooh, that was close. And again, Liam Hill coming up through turn 3. And this is the move here. It's coming out of turn 4. This is where Liam Hill made his move last time.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it this time. Cooler heads will prevail.
The man who's sitting waiting tight right now is the man in P6, Reese March. I mean, if they crash in front of him, he's going to move up into P4, and that's not going to be a bad result for both him and for Haas, with Esteban retiring, unfortunately.
And here we go. Liam Hill to the outside. Ooh, and he cuts across, and there's a little bit of contact left front to right rear with Dennis's car.
Yeah, these two, they are going at it. They're going really at it. They don't care if there's a bit of carbon fiber flying left, right, and center. They just want to have that position.
And Dennis, I will say, has done an impressive job to protect his space. And again, Liam Hill gets a run down the front straightaway, cuts out. This is the closest he's been. They're side by side. Dennis is going to try and outbrake him, and he pushes him wide, and there's contact.
Oh, yeah. That's not good. That's not good.
Give me a better camera angle. What has happened to Dennis? I was trying to get a better camera angle of what was going on. A little bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, I think he got run onto the AstroTurf and maybe possibly into the gravel a little bit. Have to let off the throttle in order not to spin. But, whoa, what a battle. And if Dennis can close back up to Liam, I think there's going to be a round 3, possibly. We only have 3 laps left, but...
Yeah, that was... Meanwhile, we're going to pick up Luke Smith as he is battling with Cameron Weston Edwards. And Yannick Verpayten has retired from the session. And that brings out a safety car with 3 laps to go. That is weird. Okay.
Does this mean we're only going to have 1 lap of safety car? Or does it mean 2?
I'm really confused because I thought... I don't know how true this is, but I thought I read somewhere that there was a coding in the system that the safety car wasn't supposed to be deployed with 3 or less laps to go in a race. I guess Codemasters has either gotten that wrong or is proving me wrong. But do you stay out? Do you pit? Jensen has pitted for soft tires, and he is back out. He's back out in 5th.
Oh, that could be a problem for him.
Honestly, I would take the gamble. I would stay out because I think the game is broke.
Yeah.
I think the game is broke, and I would stay out. And if that's the case, that puts Reese Mark
because
into
Tim
4th.
has a penalty. But Tim has a penalty. Andrea doesn't. How many laps of racing are we going to have? Because surely Tim, with only 1 lap of racing, is not going to be able to stretch 3 seconds to Andrea. So I think the safety car.
That is a great point. That is a great point.
That could have played Andrea straight into a victory. And could we have Reese on the podium if there's... Oh my goodness.
So Jensen Randall is the first car to have pitted, put on softs. Dennis Carenti did the same thing. He's in 7th. Luke Smith, he's in 10th. He has a fresh set of softs on there. I would love to see 2 laps of racing just to watch Luke Smith work his way past Koons Van Houten, Dion Stahl, and get to Dennis. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the game is confused.
I think we could run safety car all the way to the end. Maybe.
Okay, Tim has just now caught the safety car coming out of turn 3.
But if that's the case, that means the podium is going to be Andrea for victory, Jensen in P2, and Cameron on the podium, if that happens, because they don't have penalties.
It also depends on how many... Well, that's true. It also depends on how many penalties they got. 1 penalty versus, 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the only guys with that... The guys with that penalty, they're definitely going to be on the podium if we have a safety car podium or safety car finish.
And see, folks, this is exactly why we don't reveal how many people got how many time penalties. Yeah. And I just want to throw it out there real quick because if the car, if it does finish under safety car, Felipe's just pitted. Depending on what the timing penalties are, Felipe could find himself sitting a little bit further up the running grid. It says safety cars in this lap. Hang on, folks. We're going to have 1 lap of ridiculousness. Oh, my God. This is so... This is like Monaco. When Schumacher, oh, we've lost Sam again due to a network failure. All right, folks, hang on to your butts. Tim Ventic is the control car. He's had great starts. He's had great restarts this whole race. We've got Andrea Latrella right behind him. Andrea does not have a timing penalty. This is for the win. And Tim's off to the races. Andrea caught napping. Tim is out in front. Tim, you got caught napping bad. What a great jump by Tim Ventic. And here comes Reese March. And it's a 3-way battle down the front straightaway. Reese is caught in the middle. And to the inside goes Jensen Randall. Jensen Randall on the soft tires almost outbreaks himself. Oh no, and Cameron Weston Edwards loses the back end of the car.
Oh,
Liam Hill up into...
finish. Oh my.
Meanwhile, Reese falls back into 5th. Andrea needs to get back to Tim. And here comes Liam Hill. This is technically... Andrea's racing for a win at this point, because if he can stay within that 3 seconds, Tim's not going to get it. But Tim's already stretched it out to 2 seconds in 1 lap. He really caught Andrea napping on that restart.
Andrea's gonna have trouble, because if Liam sends a dive bomb, that's gonna be trouble for him, because he's not gonna get that.
And here comes Jensen Randall to the inside, and Jensen Randall gets by Liam Hill up into 3rd.
Oh my.
And a 3-second time penalty for Tim Ventic. That's more than 1. Tim's gonna drop in the running order big time.
No.
Not only is he going to lose the win, he is going to lose a podium. He comes across the line. He's going to be 1st, but Andrea Latrella is going to pick up the win. Jensen Randall 2nd. Tim Ventic. Cameron Weston Edwards is 3rd. Tim Ventic drops to 4th. Liam Hill 5th. Reese March is 6th. Dennis Karenchis is 7th. Dion Stahl comes across the line. He's 9th. Luke Smith gets 8th. Nick Van Gelder gets 8th. Luke is 9th. Dion is 10th. What a crazy, crazy finish to this race.
Wow.
And once again, SRL delivering massive on-track action. Spain never fails SRL. These two go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Oh yeah. That was a cracking finish.
Unbelievable run to the finish. Driver of the day, Liam Hill. I can agree with that. Starting back in the field, didn't set a qualifying time.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was a masterclass drive right there.
And Tim Ventic is going to be kicking himself in the butt for that one last 3-second time penalty. So Andrea Latrella not only wins, but this is going to retake the points lead from Jensen Randall. But Jensen finished 2nd, so the points gap is still only like 2 or 3 point difference.
Yeah. I mean, this season, we are only at race, 7, but still, the gap between the top 2 is just so tiny. It's crazy. It's been a cracking season so far.
So Andrea Latrella with the win, Jensen Randall is 2nd, Cameron Weston Edwards with 3rd. That is going to solidify him 3rd in the points as well. Tim Ventic with a 4th place finish after his timing penalties. Liam Hill is 5th. Reese March with a great run to 6th. Dennis Karenchis is 7th. Nick Van Gelder is 8th. Luke Smith is 9th. Dion Stahl is 10th. Vince Van Houten 11th. Max Mulder 12th. Sandro Dulius not able to repeat what he's done in the past, 13th. Colin Higgins is 14th. Rennie Vanderstapp, don't even know what happened to him today. Finishes 15th. Yo Marusic is 16th. Felipe the Pizza Boy is 17th, and then 18th through 20th is all DNFs. That's Yannick Verpayten, Esteban Hermanos, and Jan Holm. Man, what a finish. And Dennis Karenchis is on the live chat expressing his displeasure with Liam, saying he is a big joke. And,
oh, yeah.
Obviously, the only thing I can say, Dennis, if there's anything to report, send the footage to the stewards. Obviously, post-race penalties can be instilled, and it's not always in the face of it's not always in the face of a qualifying ban or a race ban. Sometimes it is a timing penalty, so things could change. But those were your unofficial results. What a race at Spain!
But it just a Codemaster glitch that isn't supposed to happen ended up giving us a cracking final lap. What a race!
Yeah, that is That's a weird safety car and ill-timed. Y'all can thank Yannick Verpayten for that one. So,
well, I guess it's the same case as in real life. Whenever Kevin Magnussen retired, it was a cracking race because of the safety car. I do not hope that Yannick has picked up that role of being the guy who retires and then the cracking race starts, but wow, what a race.
And the point spread after today's race, unofficially, Andrea Latrella, he is sitting at 134, while Jensen Randall is 132. So Andrea takes the
2
points
points.
lead by 2 points. I do believe Tim Ventic will get the credit for the fastest lap, so he'll get that bonus point.
Yeah. But wow, what a race. And I do not even remember, was Jensen in front of Andrea before the safety car came out?
Yeah, well, one of the safety cars, yeah, because remember Tim and Jensen were running first and second after the first safety car. The Mercedes got double stacked. So that was the one I think.
No, I mean after this last safety car, was he in front of Andrea there?
No.
Because that could potentially. No, okay. Well, it didn't end up costing him anything then, as we discussed that it could have if he boxed that close to the finish. But wow.
And Sandro, unfortunately, expressing his displeasure on the live chat. If I could have gotten screwed over by one more safety car, it would have been perfect. Worst timing. And I'm sure he means worst timing ever at the end of that.
Yeah.
So, Sandro, who had a great titanic battle with Vasilios in Season 4 at this track, couldn't replicate that today, unfortunately. But, man, what a race.
Doesn't even come home with points, surprisingly.
Yeah, rough day for the Scuderia team.
Yeah, only Dion scoring points, so far at least, unofficially, but what a race, definitely. We say it again, what a race.
Absolutely. This is going to be one of the, and you know, a lot of the races this year have been like that, so another great race from the SRL crew. Glad I was able to be here once again to commentate for everybody. Good to have fans in the stands for Felipe. Good to see some new drivers coming in. Sam, always a pleasure to have you in the booth with me, former driver yourself. And yeah, we look forward to the next round. But before we can get to the next round, we've got Gran Turismo Sport coming up next week, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Of course, we don't live stream it, but results do get uploaded to our website, and of course, all drivers are able to record and live stream and do whatever. So I'd encourage people to seek out all of the drivers, find their YouTube channels, check out our website and all of that, and yeah, stay updated. Of course, next season we're going to move back to Project Cars 2. We're going to stream that, so I mean, it's a packed season. But Formula 1, it's just got really interesting with the championship fight for the drivers, at least.
Also, we need to do a quick shout out because we do need to do, in a couple weeks, we need to do the annual SRL Snowball Derby on Project Cars 2.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be streamed for anybody that's interested. Information will be coming out in that hopefully in the next week or so. But the Snowball Derby, you should check out last year's. But we do the rally cars, blizzard conditions at night on a rally track. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tradition now. We've only done it once, but we're definitely going to do it this year as well.
We had a lot of drivers had a lot of fun doing it last year, and they want to do it again. So look forward to that. And then I will be racing in that. I'm not going to be commentating that. I'm going to be racing in the little rally cars. I want to crack at it once again. And it was a lot of fun. But guys, be sure to check us out online. Check us out on Instagram. The description's in the link. The links are in the description below. So be sure to do that. Like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. And be sure to check us out next round. I'm KAMIKAZE-FOX. This has been Sam Brandt. This has been round 7 of SRL. We'll see you guys at the next round.